Ladies and gentlemen,
Boys and girls.
children of all ages. Welcome back to another episode of the circus known as the Universal Lens.
The Universal Lens.
That sounds like something from
Michael Buffer.
no, not Michael Buffer. You've seen like Monty Python?
Medieval times.
No, you've seen
Monty Python's great.
yeah, no, but isn't that the one? The one with oh my God, what's the actor's name? Oh my God, I can't think of it. All the old time actors were in it, where they made believe they were Jesus and all that other stuff.
Oh, Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks, and it's like that's like one of those voices of like the Universal, where it's like God talking down from them.
The Mel Brooks.
And these are the 15 commandments. He drops the 10 commandments. He drops 5 of them.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry. This has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
But this part of the movie was so freaking beautiful and so
Of
that movie.
Yeah,
Oh my God,
it was called Monty Python, the Holy Grail, wasn't that it?
No, that was called something else. This was Mel Brooks.
I can't think of the name.
But John,
If you know the name,
Gregory Hines.
yes, I remember Gregory Hines.
Gregory Hines goes, "Hey
He's
man,"
great at dancing.
and he's wearing a toga,
Yeah,
and he's next to Mel Brooks, and he goes, "I'm Jewish," and the Mel Brooks goes, "You're not Jewish." He goes, "I'm Jewish." He opens his pants. He looks. He goes, "You're not Jewish."
That's when comedy was comedy, and we
so,
can laugh at
dude,
in the world.
I swear to God, that I was a kid.
Funny.
Oh my God,
Those were great shows. They remade one recently, and it was horrible, unfortunately. But those actors like what was it, Kevin Kline and guys like that were in it back then. They were just like a lot of them were younger, and then they became these actors, popular actors. But so many people were in those shows.
yeah,
they were
like
funny.
Steve Martin and Chevy Chase.
They weren't in that. Were they?
No, but
like
it
that.
was that kind
Well,
of.
there was a lot of
comedy.
English actors. There was a lot of English-based actors in those Mel Brooks that Mel Brooks movie for some reason.
The whole Monty
He
Python,
was funny.
the whole Monty Python crew.
Mel Brooks is fucking great. I love it.
The whole Monty Python crew were excellent.
Excellent.
I was a big British comedy guy when I was little.
They were
Benny Hill.
Those guys, yeah, they were funny.
Benny Hill.
They were funny. They were funny.
Mr. Bean.
Rowan Atkinson. To this day, I still watch Mr. Bean. I know this has nothing to do with mindfulness,
So
but I
good.
still watch. I love Mr. Bean.
Come on.
Love Mr. Bean.
He's great.
Where he talks
Again. Yes. It's like it's the
Bean. Bean. Oh, that was good.
Mr.
Bean.
Mr.
Bean.
and he has the
John loved him. My
Dude.
kids loved him too.
oh my God,
It was stupid, but we would watch his episodes on Amazon Prime because he could get them on Amazon Prime, and it was just fucking funny.
look,
Yeah.
this is the gift. The gift is he could walk out with his little suit that's a little bit too small, and just look.
And you
And you're
laugh
laughing.
at him
What the hell?
with those eyes.
And he hasn't done anything. That is a gift, man. That's a gift.
Yeah, it was funny. It was funny TV. So I don't know where we were going with that, but welcome back anyway.
You want to know where we're going with that?
Where
I'm gonna tie it right back.
Dove andiamo?
Ti dico adesso.
Subtitles included.
Mr. Bean and all these guys that were just on that frequency, they were on that wavelength where literally it must have been, I don't know, I guess their calling. I don't know how else to put it, but
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it, but when you have the ability to just walk out there and people are laughing, whether it's on, because he was a big stage guy. He came from theater.
Rowan Atkinson.
He came from doing Shakespeare.
I can see that because if you hear him speak, he's a very well-spoken person.
He's a Shakespearean actor.
Yeah, like you could tell. Yeah, I can see
But
that.
then all of a sudden,
somebody,
he ends up in Mr. Bean.
you
And,
make a shitload of money doing it. All right, no problem.
I mean, forget Shakespeare. Like Mr. Bean was incredible. But anyway, I think what happens is like things align, and it's hard. It's hard to understand what happens, but things align. And
I've heard this from quite a few, actually, comedic actors too. Are the ones I've heard this from more than from like regular actors.
I mean, yeah, you spoke about him recently. Yeah, you spoke about Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey was a big follower of Eckhart Tolle, and he told stories where he's given stories where he's manifested things in his life. Just because of the way he approached his mind and approached his thoughts and anchored in certain spaces instead of other spaces and followed certain paths instead of other paths, and he was able to, do what he had to do. And at one point he gave it all up and stopped acting. Like at one point, Jim Carrey stopped acting. He goes, I was tired of being this avatar. He goes, and I decided to just, like, he grew a big ass beard, started painting every day, like just did other things with his life. And I mean, that was like, yeah, sure, he was monetarily, financially, he was in a great spot. He didn't need to work, but like he had the wherewithal to not chase it anymore and realize, I want to live. I don't want to be this anymore. I wanted to do something else. So I've heard that before.
No, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was the highest paid actor in Hollywood at one point. I could be wrong.
He might have been. So there's a story with Jim Carrey, which is kind of funny, where I forgot who he was speaking with, or he was giving an interview, and he told a story to where how he would he wanted to like manifest things. He's been a spiritual person for most of his life. And he said at one point he wrote a check out to himself for $10 million and put it in his wallet. And every day I think he would look at this check, but not looking at it. See, and this is where we've always spoken about the approach. And if you can't trick anything into happening in life. Like there's got to be a genuine awareness and a genuine anchoring of him saying, I'm looking at this check, and this is what I would love, and I'm going to love the feeling I have when it's actually written to me, this check. So he wrote this check for $10 million, and he continued doing what he had to do for like the next year, a year and a half. And every day he would look at the check. And a year and a half later, they completed the movie Dumb and Dumber, and he received a check for that movie for $10 million. When he said this story, I was like, and this is from him. This wasn't like I heard this through, well, I heard a story that this happened to Jim Carrey told this story. I was watching a reel. So he wrote himself a check, put it in his wallet to say, this is what I want. But not this is what I want in a greedy, this is what I want. I love the way this feels. And he closed it. And he went to work that day. I looked at the check. I love the way this feels. And he went to work that day and dealt with the shit. I love the way this feels. Not like I have to have this. I must have this. That's different. You're trying to bend reality. You're trying to bend what the universe works, and you're trying to bend energy and frequencies. He put this frequency out to say, this is what I want. I love the way this feels. And then was okay with whatever that they brought him. Like, there's got to be this is what I want, but I accept what I have right now. But I love the way this feels. And that there's an airness about him when he would say that. Like, he would be like, I love the way this feels. Like, or I would say, I love the way this feels, but I accept where I am right now. And I'll say it again tomorrow. I love the way this feels. I love if I could accomplish this goal. And this is where I am right now. But I could work towards it, but in a place of acceptance. And a year and a half later, the guy made a movie and got a check for $10 million. I mean, that's like, he's had 2 stories like that in his life where things have happened like that. So it's people, the naysayers are going to say, it's a coincidence. It's bullshit. Those are the people who are miserable in life every day of their lives because they choose to be miserable. They choose to put out a frequency to say skepticism. No, it can't be. It's not reality. That's not this. I don't know this. You pray to God? Yes. Okay. What's the difference? God is real. Well, I'm not trying. This isn't a religious episode. Says who? You believe it and it works for you. Watch this. Great. Perfect. You put that frequency out that you believe in God, you believe in all this, and it brings you peace. Beautiful. I put out the frequency. I wish I could accomplish this goal. But I accept where I am now. It's not from a place. And let me see what the universe gives back to me. Opportunities to maybe do it. Right?
That's amazing. You just said that. We didn't talk about this before. We talked about a lot of stuff before, but we didn't talk about that. But holy shit. Because that's exactly what I was thinking. Because even kind of how you said it. So put aside Jim Carrey. Exactly.
Just an example, yeah.
But exactly your example. All right, so what Jim Carrey was doing, and stop, you please chime in. What Jim Carrey was doing, and by the way, I want to say this, not for me, not for John, although, yes, we do get a nice benefit from this, but...
Not monetarily, spiritually.
Think about, before I say anything, think about this. because we spoke about briefly about the Jim Carrey's monetary success, right? How many people in the population so 100% of the population, how many would you say are financially free?
If I had to take a guess, I have no base. I say 5%.
Exactly. Top
Like 5% people could say, "I'm okay. Like I'm
done.
okay for the next 50 years of my life.
I don't have to work.
I don't have to work, but I have to mind my
5%.
Yeah.
The other
And
95%.
that might be overstating it, actually.
Right. But
Just say, yeah.
The other 95%, in my opinion, are the normal people that you can now categorize for this example as the naysayers. The people that go, come on. Oh, so the rest of us are a bunch of idiots. You're the no. This is what I'm about to say. So, as you know, I sent you a video of a guy named Bob Proctor, right?
Yes. Love the name too.
Very, very interesting stuff. And when I send you these videos, is just to continuously. So last time we spoke about Dr. Joe Dispenza, and today I'm going to just briefly mention Bob Proctor, who, by the way, I didn't know passed away.
Oh, did he?
I thought he was still kicking. So I found out he passed away in February of 2022. But long story short, this guy dedicated his life into changing how you think so that you can become prosperous. So you can become healthier. So you can put yourself in a different mental state and make yourself available to any good that the universe wants to throw your way.
Yeah, it was a cool video.
Because if you don't make yourself available to the good that the universe may throw your way, you're going to miss it. And 95% of us are in a headspace that we're not even able to see it. It could be that there's no difference between the top 5% people that we just briefly mentioned and the 95% of us. There really is no difference. We all have similar brains, working hands. Obviously some of us may have missing a finger, an arm, whatever the case. Simply put, we're all given the same vessel. But 5%, some of them are lucky. Some of them are just lucky.
Yeah.
But don't you think there's got to be some sort of code, some sort of system that could be underneath it all that allows certain 5%ers to walk into or experience something that the other 95% can't?
Yeah, but I'm just so we know are you talking about 5% of? Are you talking financially only, or
nope?
Okay, all right. Because
nope.
I was getting a little confused.
Nope.
All right.
No. I'm walking you down this narrow ravine.
Sure.
So Jim Carrey, as your example proved, did the thing with the check.
With the check, yeah.
So what's the difference between what Jim Carrey did with the check and what somebody may do by writing out their goal and writing out how grateful they are for hitting that goal, even though they haven't? So today, I want to lose 100 pounds, and I write down my goal is.
You write down I lost 100 pounds. Not I want to. I lost.
Yeah, no. So my version, because there's different versions. Somebody won't write a check themselves. Somebody's going to write some down. Somebody's going to have a little card. Whatever it is. I am so. How do you feel now that you lost 100 pounds?
Yes.
And Jim Carrey, how do you feel
now that you've made $10 million?
That you made $10 million. And Jim Carrey knew that he felt great, and he felt really grateful
for it.
Right? Not great. How about grateful?
He felt grateful for it. Correct.
Grateful. And he felt grateful for it. And like you said, it's not that he was this Dr. Jekyll, no.
He wasn't forcing it. It wasn't something that he had to have. There was no. Yeah. See that breath you just took? That's exactly what it is. It's an appreciation for that if it does happen. Not I need it to happen, because I need it to happen.
So Jim Carrey didn't write down on that paper or check. He didn't write down the specifics. He just wrote down
a check to himself.
And if I'm not mistaken, Jim Carrey came from poverty. He lived in a car.
Yeah, his father was an accountant, lost his job. Yeah.
He lived in a car.
Yeah.
And he was very depressed, very rough time.
He's gone. He's battled some demons, yes.
But when How do you think you'd feel if you actually had $10 million, whether that be real or fake? You'd feel great, right? So let's go with fake. So the juices that your mind give your body, the signals that your mind give your body are very positive signals. And as we've learned, the body doesn't know what's real, what's not. Because let's go back. Your fear, your anxiety is not really here. It's something that
It's a projection of what might be, or a memory, or a perceived memory of what was. Because even our memories are skewed.
yes, sir. The
Even
majority
our memories are skewed.
of them are not real.
No.
They're a version, but
Doesn't
you
make-
gave it that extra.
Yeah, the fish was that big. No, dude, the fish was actually. If we could throw the red flag like in football, and the fish was this big. But no, my memory, the fish was that big.
False memory.
False memory, yeah.
10-yard penalty.
Exactly.
So if you can have that reaction, that body reaction on a fake bad memory, why not have a good body reaction on a fake good memory?
Agreed.
And that is what Jim Carrey was doing. And that is possibly what a good percentage of those 5%ers are doing, whether they know it or they don't.
So that's whether they know it. Some people inherently just live their life that way,
So,
which happens.
yes, it could happen
Yeah.
because of, again, we weren't.
But those 5%. So the people who live their life that way but don't realize it have to be careful, because when something bad eventually does, and bad and good are opinions, but when something negative happens in their lives, if they don't have a true awareness, it's easy for them to for that script to flip on.
You could derail.
It could derail.
Actually, we derail all day long.
Yeah.
All we do is put the rail back all day long
Yeah, absolutely.
ourselves. And by the way, I don't have $10 million. Yeah, sorry, but what was I?
Me neither, by the way. In case people took my silence for it. Okay.
Yeah, he's got 30.
All right.
No, but what I got derailed on this conversation. But going back, if you can program your body, and unconsciously you're programming your body for the negative, you're going to have that negative loop. So why not program your body for the positive and have a positive loop? And that puts you on a different frequency. So
Yeah.
if you talk to somebody who is going through a very rough time and they're not aware of it, and they're not conscious of changing their behavior, they're just a fully victim of their loop, you can approach that person with, hey, I want to talk to you about this opportunity. Listen, we're going to get together and we're going to do this thing, and we're going to buy this warehouse, and we're going to have kids, play baseball and soccer. And it's a really interesting business proposal. And, for the simple fact that the 6 of us, that person is not hearing you. That person is just wallowing in their fear, wallowing in their anxiety, in their situation. And there's a lot of us that live there.
Yeah.
We just live there because
Sure.
we don't know how to get out. We don't know how to help ourselves. We don't know that we can program ourselves. So back to programming. What I understand now is that we have been programmed. So whether it be from our parents, from our environment, from
A little bit of everything.
because obviously genetics is a big component,
Sure.
but we have been subconsciously. We didn't know this, but as we live, we're being programmed. But if you now understand that you were programmed, can you understand that you can reprogram?
Of course you can.
And if you can reprogram, you can reprogram yourself to be on a different frequency. And this guy, Bob Proctor, mentioned this. Again, I'm going to butcher everything here, but he was a Russian scientist who, I forget his name, but he wanted to study the same way you study an X-ray of your bones. He wanted to study the energy field around people.
Around your body, yeah.
And he says, if you were to take this scan of an energy field, you'd realize that when you're on a different, higher frequency, you radiate more. So what does that mean? Well, if a person is constantly in this negative loop, I just mentioned that I want to lose 100 pounds, right? But I'm fat. I'm disgusting. Honestly, like, look at me. Like, no matter what I do, I don't lose weight. That's it. That's just how it is. Well, you're probably never going to lose the weight because you've kind of defeated yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's no new programming.
Okay.
And there's no new programming that you're even open to.
Okay. So what did Bob? What did
So he mentioned that exactly the Jim Carrey. He didn't say write yourself a check. No.
Yeah, no.
But he did say, my goal. Right, you go. My goal by this date. And he's, I left it blank. He goes, I left it blank. He's, my goal by this date. And underneath it, he wrote his goal. I don't know what
Whatever
his goal
it was,
but
yeah.
you know, I am very grateful and happy to have lost 100 pounds. Tomorrow, write it again. My goal by this date, blank. I am very grateful and happy to have lost 100 pounds. And he says the act of writing this goal. In the case of Jim Carrey, by the way, he also mentions carrying a card with your goal. He says,
Yeah, I've done something like that, but yes.
He says, because you know how he speaks. The old man speaks very matter of fact. He goes, when my mentor said, write a goal on this card, I did. He says, and look at this card every day. Keep it in my wallet. And I look at this card every day. He goes, on the other side of the card, I wrote the words from the Sermon on the Mount. He goes, ask and ye shall receive. To those that look, to those that seek, you shall find. Something along those lines. He goes, and that's what I did. I wrote my goal on the one side, and I wrote, ask and ye shall receive, search and you shall find.
Yeah, sure.
And so between writing it down, he says the act of writing down how you feel when you accomplished your goal. Now, you haven't accomplished it. We know this. I haven't lost 100 pounds. I don't have $10 million.
But that feeling puts out a certain frequency. That feeling for your own mental well-being, it changes your perspective. It changes the way you approach it. It helps you to rewire neural pathways. So we've always said it's a matter of what resonates with you better. So like he says, seek and you shall receive, right? Which is, is a religious, term. There's people who could take that many different ways, right? There's a person who's going to take that and they're going to put it out there, pray for it, right? But still wallow in the negative. So seek and shall receive, ask and it shall be granted. So, give me this, universe, give me this, universe, give me this. I'm still here. I didn't get it yet. And that's where that approach could like hook, line, and sink you. Again, that's where there's the one key to all these, whether it's Dr. Joe Dispenza, Eckhart Tolle, what was his name?
Bob Proctor.
Just go down to Tony Robbins, even, right? Because I've been listening to some of his stuff lately.
Right. He dances around the same.
They all dance around the same. But if you don't have the awareness, the presence, the in this moment right now gratitude for what we have in life, where we are in life, that we're actually experiencing life.
That's the connector.
That's it. Without that, any of those, acceptance commitment therapy for OCD, which is what I kind of started with, right? Spirituality with Eckhart Tolle, powerful mind thinking like Dr. Joe Dispenza, Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, all these people, without that key ingredient, none of them have a shot of succeeding. Maybe you move the baseline a little bit, but you really don't truly succeed because you're still at that point trapped in your mind, trapped in your body, and you're not actually able to navigate how you want to point them because you have no awareness. So I could trick my mind to think something eventually, right? It's thought replacement. And it's one of the worst things you could do, especially if you suffer with anxiety or depression, because by replacing a thought with another, you're stuck in your mind still. And it doesn't take long for your mind to catch on what you're trying to do by manipulating it. And we talked about this week. It's going to backdoor you
all day long.
And it's going to all day long keep you there. But until you realize that I'm going to put it out there and let go of control. I'm going to put it out there. I live my life. The actions that you put out there have to be in line with what you're asking for. So if you want to lose 100 pounds, you can't say, I want to lose 100 pounds. Wow, this feels great. And then rip open a bag of potato chips and eat the whole thing. You're not going to lose 100 pounds. The universe is going to be like, yes, great. But if you don't move in the same direction, it's not going to work. Right. So it's got to work.
Okay. So there you are,
Uh-huh.
expressing how grateful you are for losing 100 pounds. And you have not lost 100 pounds.
You have not lost a pound yet. Yeah.
Jim Carrey was grateful for having $10 million.
He didn't have a pot to piss
And
in.
he didn't have it. But he's grateful. That is I'm going to say something really freaky, and I think you can understand me. That is how do I say this? A genuflection to the universe.
A letting go of control.
It's you saying to the universe, do with me as you will.
Yes.
And a program at the same time.
It's do with me as you. It's accepting. So
it's hard.
No. So this is where words are really important for human beings, because we are what we say, what we hear, what we think becomes our reality if we believe it to be true. So when we use certain words, we're programming ourselves to act that way without even fucking realizing it, right? If I keep saying the words, I must, I should, I have to, what don't I have? What word comes, what don't I have? If I use must, should, and have to constantly, what don't I have?
Have.
I don't have flexibility.
Right.
I have no flexibility, right? I took those words out of my language. I must think a different thought. I shouldn't have these thoughts. I have to change the way I think. Well, if I'm so rigid, that means I'm identified in my mind and I have no flexibility at all. So the language we use makes a big difference. It's a huge difference. So it's not just saying I want to put it out to the universe, oh, universe, give me this. Or what did you say before? You said
yes. So again, my words weren't
perfect. But for certain people, that makes a big.
So there I am. I wrote down how thankful I am, how grateful I am for hitting my goal, and I have physically not hit my goal.
Yeah.
But I am grateful for hitting it because I want to feel what that feels like.
Sure, and that's great. That's great for your body. It's great for your mind. Absolutely.
And I now encode it. But in writing down how thankful I am for, it's almost as if to say, universe, I am in your hands. I am not forcing anything. I simply put how grateful I am for this that I haven't reached yet. But as you write that down every day, your body talks to your mind, and your mind says, here you go, body. Here's some nice chemicals that go along with this feeling.
Sure.
And that starts to reinforce a behavior, a process that can sort of universally lead you towards your goal without you knowing it or feeling it or understanding why it's happening. But it puts you on this frequency.
It puts you on a different. Yeah, there I agree. It does. It puts you on a completely different frequency.
Where
100%.
Where you're right. But I want to say this, that if every day I write down how thankful I am to lose 100 pounds, it goes against my new way of patterning to rip open the bag of potato chips, because it doesn't go along with how I feel.
Yeah, it doesn't go along. So you're working towards your goal. Absolutely.
Like I don't feel like.
So it's by writing it down, and what, like we spoke about, and this is kind of a continuation of what we've been speaking about for the last couple of weeks. If you're anchoring in that feeling, so it's changing. It's kind of saying, picking and choosing what mental state do I want to believe right now. Right? If I believe, oh my God, this sucks, this the worst, how's my body going to react?
Negative.
My body's going to, okay, tense up. If it's a muscular issue, right? If it's a nervous issue, it's going to secrete more of these anxious chemicals in my body,
Cortisol and-
more cortisol. So you're going to get more nervous, more anxious, stomach issues, head issues, back, everything. So you want to get your mind and your body in sync. So if you say, how it feels, I lost 100 pounds, and just bask in that feeling for a second, you could hold on to that and say, that's my pointer. That feeling is my pointer. How does it feel? It feels great. And when you actually believe, and when you, I hate to say the word believe, but when you bask it, it means like it's watering over you, that feeling, like a waterfall just coming over you, that feeling that you've accomplished that goal. Your body reacts to that in a positive way. And I get what you're saying. So if you do that every day and you bask in that every day, for 10, 15 minutes in the morning, let's say you do a meditation with it, and you bask in it for 15 minutes every morning, and you bask with it for 15 minutes every morning, your body reacts to that. Now, during the day, once you're done with, let's say, your meditation, you walk, and you have to deal with people, it's very easy for your mind to come back in and go, yeah, but. And that's where you need to have that awareness to say, thank you, but I remember what I'm working towards and what it's going to be like if and when I get there. And there's a synchronicity in your body and your mind all of a sudden where your body believes what your mind is saying, and your body reacts that way, right?
Your body doesn't know.
So people, and we've said this before, people don't really understand there's a disconnect between the mind and the body. And I think Dr. Joe actually made a good point to this. And look, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a neuroscientist. So, but I can understand what he's saying on an intelligent level and see how it does make sense. That the body controls really, like the mind will have a thought, and the body's going to either believe that thought or it's not going to believe that thought. And I think that's in between. There's this thing that, and this is what we're saying before, that inexplicable part where here comes a thought, I'm this. And it's a negative thought, right? And the filter starts to filter down it starts to filter through. And then there's something that either believes it, hook, line, sinker. And if it does believe it, the body then reacts to it. Or there's something that watches that thought go by and doesn't allow the body to react to it. And the body just, okay, we didn't attach to that. We didn't identify with that thought. Okay, I lost 100 pounds. And you let that thought sink all the way through. And now the body reacts to that. And then you start to realize that this thing called awareness, this thing called mindfulness, this thing called presence, this thing we've been talking about for 47, 48 episodes, is that key ingredient that could sync your body and your mind up, that could allow a goal you have to come to fruition, because you're allowing this frequency to be put out there, and you're allowing, like you talked about before, right? And not to get personal with your personal stuff, but you've been putting out a frequency, and all of a sudden, this opportunities, like these coincidences happened this weekend, which were
freaky story,
which were freaky. And you're like, are you there, them, next door? And we were like, okay,
that was crazy.
Well, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Like, how do you find that person out of nowhere? Because you're putting it out there, but you're allowing yourself to bask in it. And again, I know it's saying believe it, and I'm very skeptical sometimes using the word believe, because believe is very.
So can I help you?
Yes, please. Very firm. And
last episode.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you said during the guided meditation? I'm going to refresh your memory.
Yeah, please.
You said.
I'm getting old.
You said. You chose this path.
Yes.
So whatever it is that's happening to you,
it act as if like you chose it, negative or positive, if it's happening to you.
So John, it's the same.
That's good stuff right there.
It's the same effect. Act like you chose, and this is act like you lost 100 pounds already, because what you're doing is your body's understanding.
Your body, I hate to, but it was believing it. Yeah,
we're there already. So if you're there already, we're not going. This is where my my stuff comes in. So we're not going to allow those damn bad thoughts back into our head. Damn it! In this war. And so, in a nutshell, I make fun of myself to make that point where, you know, what ends up happening is if you do a quick little balance sheet at the end of the day of how many good positive thoughts you had versus how many bad and negative thoughts you had,
I'm sorry.
yeah, you're going to realize that the balance sheet of the thoughts at the end of the day are tipping on the favorable part as opposed to the unfavorable part.
Absolutely, computer got unplugged. I'm sorry.
So what happens? Think about, generally speaking, think about your body. Think about how your body has rest from that. Think about the rest you get. Remember, I would say a month or two ago, I was speaking about my personal issues at the moment
Yeah.
and how I'd arrive. And by the way, I did this live, and my issue has not been resolved. I still have my impending doom, but it's true, you know it.
Yeah. No. I know. Yeah.
But it was 6:00 p.m. and I would understand if 6:00 p.m. rolls around and you are, if you're in your mid 80s. All right, 6:00. All right, yeah, we're done here. You know what I mean? I'm 44. I shouldn't be at 6:00 p.m. useless like a rag, but I am because this has been nonstop, and this has been chewing gum. So by 6:00,
You were shot. Yep. Gotcha.
and so now when I ask you, after whatever method helps you, right? So I mentioned the writing down because the old man, the card, the check that Jim Carrey wrote, however it is that you want to approach it, it's the same. It's the same vehicle where we used to say during our meditations, a thought comes in, watch it float by, right? But maybe you didn't have another mechanism. Maybe you said, well, there I am, and yes, okay, I'm breathing, and I can breathe, and I'm breathing the way you tell me. Okay. The thought comes in, yeah, but dude, if the doctor tells me next week that I have diabetes and it's gonna change because I gotta get on insulin and bro, it's difficult. And there you are, loop, and there you are in the loop. But maybe you should be, Scott Adams says, you have shelf space, and let's say your brain is a bookshelf. Why is doom and gloom? Why is the end of the world? Why are those books on your bookshelf? Can you please put better books on your bookshelf? Because
Yeah. Look, it's all. So it really is. It's those are great analogies, and it's what works. It's really comes down to what works for the individual person, where they are in their life, how their mind works. Because our tool is still our tool, right? Your hammer. We've used this example. As if you're a carpenter, your hammer might be different than my hammer. Your screwdriver might be different from my screwdriver. They both kind of do the same thing, but maybe mine's a little bit more advanced. Maybe mine's a little bit more polished. Maybe mine just works differently. Like my mind works a certain way. So I know how my mind works. You learn how to use that tool properly to achieve your goals, to get where you want to get in life. But understanding that's all it is a tool, right?
Yeah.
We always said it always comes down to identification. So you were just saying, Scott Adams, choose which book you want to pull, right? In therapy, when you're dealing with like anxiety and OCD, they give you an analogy of a make believe you have an endless hole. It's it. Your mind is like a vast hole that has no bottom. So you don't have to feel constricted or claustrophobic. Let the thought flow right by. It doesn't have to rebound and stay. It's like when you think of your mind as an expansive universe, which the only reason we actually make that analogy is because we are part of an expansive universe that we don't know where it ends. And that's the beauty of it. I don't know where it ends. So there's no limit to where thoughts can go. There's no limit to the amount of memories that it's not like we hit John, you've hit your
memory quota.
Your memory quota. Bump, bump, bump. We need to upgrade you to 4 gigs now. You're past that. How is it? My freaking computer, after a while, says, dude, we're out of RAM space. Now what do we do? You got to go to Apple and they got to They got to charge you $600 to give you some more space. Our minds doesn't work that way because we're tapped into something greater than. We're tapped into something that is infinite amount of memories, infinite amount of knowledge that we can retain. There is infinite. You can't learn enough to fill your mind up. On the opposite of that, you can't forget or delete things that you want in life. Your mind might catalog them somewhere else, right? But depending on so this ties into what we're saying before, depending on the urgency you give that thought, which is the awareness, which is the identification, is if that thought is going to stay in here or it's going to get cataloged down and almost forgotten. Where it's there and it could be pulled up if needed, but it won't be pulled up necessarily. How come our minds don't get full? You know, Dr. Stephen Hayes always said, he goes, isn't it funny? There's no delete button. I could tell you something. I'm going to say pink rabbit, right? And if I say pink rabbit, I'm going to say, he'll give you, there was an example where he gave a number and he equated it to something. He goes, every time I say that number for the rest of this, he was doing a TED talk. He goes, you're going to think of this. He goes, and you can't not think of this. He goes, then it's your choice if you want to harp on that, or if I say 4 equals pink rabbit. So if I say 4, you're fucking thinking of a pink rabbit all of a sudden. Do you want to focus on that, or do you not want to focus on that? That's the part that nobody could really explain, but we know how it works, right? We understand how it works. So this infinite thing in our head, this vast space of knowledge, this vast space. So if a thought that you don't like comes around, like you suck, okay, it's gone. What do you mean it's gone? I don't attach to it. But the thought that says
you shoved it in your vast hole.
I shoved it in my vast hole. Oh, that's good.
Thank you. Thank you. A little comedic relief.
But the thought that says I lost 100 pounds and I love how that feels. Well, I could focus on that.
Yeah,
one.
let's bubble that one up.
I could bubble that one up. And it's not thought replacement. That's choosing where I want my focus to be.
Yeah.
See, and that's where we were talking about before the show, and I said we were talking about a specific person. I'm like, well, be careful with this person that it doesn't do this to them, because when you're trying to control the thought patterns and only say these thought patterns, your mind's going to realize what you're trying to do, and it's going to come back in. That's when you have to have this thing we call awareness, this thing we call presence, this thing we call a higher level, a all-knowing, vast thinking, like where we could think above the emotion, above everything, where we can notice it's doing that and understand that it's doing that and say, but this is where I want to focus. You're the best, you're the worst. That's great. This is where I want to focus. You're fat and ugly, you're beautiful. This is where I want to focus. It doesn't mean that that thought doesn't come back up, but it's where you put your focus, right? It's where you put your focus. Like don't think of your mind as between your ears, because it's not. You're tapped into something greater.
That's the hard part.
Yeah, you're tapped into something. Like people are like, well, hold on a second, my brain's between my ears.
That's the hard part.
Your brain.
You have 2 brains.
So your brain is between your ears. Yes, it is. Of course. This brain, physical, spongy sponge, is between my 2 ears. In my cranium, under my skull, behind my eyes. Absolutely. Connected to my nervous system, 110%. But it's tapped into something better. It's tapped into something bigger. It's tapped into something that we don't understand, we can't understand, but yet all our memories go there. Because this thing cannot have enough space to hold 89 years of memories and all the knowledge and learning and tools and math and science and history. Physically, it can't get stored there. So there's something else that we tap into.
Your brain,
which can be a detriment if you don't use it properly, or it could be the most beautiful thing in the world.
Their brain is the hard drive, but we're all connected to the cloud.
And that's a great example. Eckhart Tolle uses that. He goes, where's the cloud? He goes, I don't know, but it's there.
Yeah. So your brain is the hard drive. We're all connected to the cloud, but here's the best part. The cloud you can upgrade your hard drive from the cloud.
Sure.
You don't have to work with the programming.
The old software.
You don't have to work with the old software.
But isn't it funny how as human beings, the things that we create and the way we're creating this technology and this infrastructure, isn't it weird that it kind of works, even though we don't have proof of it, right? At least I don't think there is. I haven't read anything about it. We don't have proof of where our thoughts go or what we're connected into or where our thoughts come from or where our memories are stored. But isn't it funny that we create a actual technological infrastructure that mimics it?
It's eerie, beautiful,
People go,
incredible.
where are your pictures? Stored up in the cloud. Well, they're up in the cloud, but they're actually in a hard drive somewhere else. They are, and there's infinite hard drives because again, this is a practical world. And practically, it has to be built a certain way. But isn't it funny how even the things that we do in life kind of mimic it? Like we take our information and send it up, and then we could download it whenever we want. Don't our minds work the same way? I want to bring up a memory from when I was 10 years old in Italy. Hold on a second. Yep, there it is. Where was that memory 2 seconds ago?
We have no idea.
It would take me longer to do it with my computer, by the way, because I have to go, click, all right, scroll 2000, or whatever year it was when I was 10. I was 1984. Oh, my God. 1984. Up, and there's the photo. Okay. I could go like this. Wait a second. Yep, Sicily, 1984. I remember. I got it. Yeah. When I said goodbye to my grandfather and I cried. And oh, yep, right there. Boom, 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 boom. Instantly. Where was that? Where is it? Stored in my head? I don't know. So the point we're trying to make is it's when you realize that there's something greater than, all of a sudden, everything you think you knew in life, well,
Do you remember?
Maybe you're not taking everything so seriously anymore. Maybe you're not buying into everything that your mind tells you.
You were back in the day, months ago, because this show is only, almost a year.
Almost a year.
You gave the duck example, duck on the pond. Do you remember that duck?
Yeah, sure. The duck with the feet on the paddle.
Okay. I'm going to use still the duck example in a whole other way. This guy, Bob Proctor, says, we're God's most incredible creation. He goes, the way we're built, that everything you just mentioned, the ability to have our mind, even though we probably have two minds. We have one.
That's another great.
We have one that you call a brain.
Yes, but not a mind. I think a mind and a brain are two very different things. Right?
And our whole central nervous system and how the juices flow based on what the mind thinks and the negative jujus that come out and that can be turned into positive.
Yeah.
And that put us on different frequencies, different wavelengths, and you can provoke or attract, the law of attraction.
Yes.
All these things. He goes, we're God's most incredible creation. He goes, but if you notice, in this animal kingdom, we're the only ones that are fish out of water in our own environment. And you start to think about that for a minute. Let's think about it. So the fish are in the water, and they're good. They're doing their thing. And the ducks are on the pond, and they're doing their thing. And the bears are in the woods, and they're doing. But damn it, look at the humans. Riddled with anxiety because we have this thing.
Yes.
We have this spongy thing that won't stop because be careful.
Because we've lost because you've lost awareness. You've lost so you believe everything your mind. So we've evolved, and thankfully we've evolved. And maybe there's a reason why we've evolved. You ask me what that reason is? I don't know. But we've evolved to where we could tap into something greater.
And there it is.
And that allows us to think. But I honestly believe, and a lot of spiritual teachers will say this, that our path is to evolve to a higher consciousness. Not to just be this thinking mind, but to be something greater than just a thinking mind. The mind keeps you trapped in. I'll say that I'm not a proponent of like the Matrix and like think we're in a computer world. No, but I use that example because it's relatable.
It's a great example. Yeah.
So the mind keeps you stuck in the Matrix.
Yeah.
This is what your reality is. Your brain, actually, keeps you stuck in the Matrix. But if you're able to realize that there's something greater than, bigger than, where we have this ability to see, watch, notice what that is, what that essence is, that's what takes you beyond the Matrix. And like, if you ever watch the Matrix, like he sees those, all of a sudden he sees the zeros and ones. He sees reality for what it is. It's just my projection of what what I believe I'm seeing. So to take it back to the beginning of the episode, if I believe I'm going to lose 100 pounds, and I put it out there, my actions are going to mimic that.
They start lining up.
Your body is going to believe that, and things start lining up. You might not lose 100 pounds. You might lose 20. You might lose 30. You might lose 40. You might lose 90. I don't know. But your progress is in a positive path.
That's right.
People who have been sick with certain diseases and adopted this mentality, I'm not saying like this is miracles, but it's funny how they do better with treatments, or they completely resolve their issues where people thought it was how. That's no. How can that be?
Dr. Joe talked about it.
And I'll give you a kid's example with Cookie with his knee, right? When you guys never, I don't know if you know, like
I talked about it here.
Oh, okay, we did talk about it. Where he didn't know that the doctor said the chances of him coming back to this injury was 0.
Never told him. I told him later.
You left him with the possibility that no, we could do what we have to do. He believed in and worked towards it. So as a young child, you did him a great service because you didn't even allow that negative thought to be there.
Yep.
I mean, look, he might have overcame it anyway if he had the right mindset and was able to say, "That's great, thank you very much." No, but I'm going to do what I want to do anyway, and he still might have been able to do it. But you see how that connection was? You didn't give him that negative input, and all of a sudden, that positive input allowed him to achieve something that somebody thought he couldn't. And you hear more and more stories about this. People who've accomplished things and achieved things. And this is where your upbringing has something to do with it, right? If you're brought up in a very negative environment, always anxious, negative, anxious, negative, anxious, negative. What are your thought patterns going to be? I can't, I won't, I can't, I won't, I'm not enough. Now, even for people who are on the opposite of that, brought up in a super positive world where everything is great, they got to be wary because when that script does flip on them, if they don't have the awareness, they could get pulled back into it. Yeah. So no matter which one you're on, if you have that thing that allows you to notice what's happening, you don't take either of them seriously, and you kind of are able to move towards the goal that you want to move towards.
Yes.
I want to play baseball again, so I'm going to work out. I'm going to do my physical therapy, blah, 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 blah. Look at that. Playing baseball in college now. Okay. How'd that happen? I'm not a doctor. I don't know. The kid did what he had to do, the right mental state, the right approach, didn't believe the negativity, didn't buy into the negativity, didn't nourish.
He gave it no shelf space.
He gave it no shelf space.
No shelf space.
And he was able to do it. That can happen for anybody. But it doesn't happen by tricking your mind into thinking something else. It happens when you're able to say, except this is where I am. This is what I have. It will be great to have that, and that's what I want to work toward, but still accept where you are right now. And not need it to be different than it is, not must have different than it is. So you could want it to be different, but you don't need it to be different. It doesn't have to. There's a lightness, there's an airness, there's an acceptance of this is what it is. I'm living my life right now, but I'm going to move in that direction.
Yeah, and
you'd be surprised what you could achieve.
I gotta say this. So we're human beings. Really? Wow, you're kidding me. Oh,
we are.
Well, I just want to say this. We're human beings, and a lot of our human experience is, life, right? So life throws you curveballs. And a lot of us, especially if you're not equipped, as we were once not equipped, we let these curveballs completely hit us, like, duh, duh. And we act accordingly. And you had your experience.
Oof.
I've had
God
mine,
knows.
right? I've had mine. But our situation became a lot clearer when we discover mindfulness. And we discover that you can sort of build a different experience. You can sort of build a different experience. You can watch the negative thought float by. You don't have to, adopt it. You can stick it in your vast hole. Right? Stick the negative thought up your vast hole or down your vast hole.
That's one way to put it.
Right? And so what I was getting at is what that does to you throughout the years, and I'm speaking from experience. I'm talking straight out of my own experience. Our self-confidence gets hit. And you know what ends up happening? Without noticing it, you're left with almost none. Because it's been chipped away at. And that self-confidence is a internal pillar of yours that you need to make sure to restore. Because as you write down that goal of losing 100 pounds, if you're not you don't have self-confidence because it's been destroyed. It helps if you have self-confidence.
Yes, self-confidence, yes.
But what came first, the chicken or the egg? Very simple.
Yeah.
Continue to be thankful that you lost 100 pounds. Continue to be thankful that you feel the goodness. Continue to let the negative thought go up your vast hole.
I think we coined a new
I
word.
think we did. And continue to program yourself for a more positive flowing situation. The self-confidence will begin to repair on its own, by itself, without you know. Your subconscious will somehow take over that thing. And I add that in there because I think that's kind of what was happening to me, where life
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that happens.
And you end
that
up-
does happen, sure.
you end up in that fear and anxiety because you're nothing.
Well, it's one of those things where people say, and when you said self-confidence, I agree with you. I was thinking of another word, and I couldn't think of the word, and it's self-esteem. People will
Okay.
think, no, but this is where it's tricky. They say, is it better to have high self-esteem, low self-esteem? I think it's better to have no self-esteem, which means you don't take yourself seriously.
Okay, yeah.
Because people who have low self-esteem, low confidence,
Yeah.
people who have high self-esteem could go the other way and become super egoic, and they believe that they're great, but they believe that they're great on a holistic universal level where they're trying to accomplish something, or they're trying to or they're using it as a pointer or a direction for the betterment of themselves and those around them. But it's, I'm the fucking best, you suck.
Scrooge McDuck.
Yes, Scrooge McDuck. There's a big difference. Is to have no, and this was Dr. Stephen Phillipson who said this in an article called Choice. Great article. Article is called Choice. First article I read before I started therapy. That article alone made connections in different things that I had already noticed.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it says no self-esteem because it basically means you don't take yourself seriously. Now we're going to get into, not now, but he in the article is like, who is this yourself? Like, who is this yourself? You're not thinking, and that's where he starts to show these parallels between, and they don't get into it as deep as we do here or spiritual teachers do. They leave it at a very baseline scientific level, kind of like Dr. Joe does. They use the word, but they don't explain what that word means because the word, as Eckhart Tolle said many times, it's hard to explain what it is. It's a feeling. It's a knowing. It's a noticing. It's something in you that vibrates, and you realize it's vibrating, and you know it's there, but you can't explain it because I think as long as we're alive in these vessels in our bodies, we can't know. It's like it's behind us. We can't see it's behind us, but we feel it. It's like spider sense. I know it's there. I know it's there. And that's why, as I was thinking of self-esteem, I thought that was great.
No, it makes our job here a little difficult. That the fact that we cannot put it into proper.
Nobody can put it into proper words because you can't explain something that has no name, has no face, has no agenda. It has no thoughts. It has no words. Like awareness doesn't have words. It doesn't speak to you. Awareness allows you to hear clearer. It allows you to see clearer. It allows you to see past negative and focus on positive. It allows you to see, to notice. And I think I think notice is one of the best words for it. When you notice something, you go, oh, but that's it. Now you noticed it. But what made you notice it? I did? No. You noticed yourself thinking something. What made you notice it? Boom. I don't know. I can't give you that answer. But once you realize that thing, everything all these guys say, Burton, Dispenza, Eckhart Tolle, Tony Robbins, if you're working with a life coach right now, or you're working with a spiritual coach on your own, or you're working with a therapist, that's the, they always say, like, what's the key ingredient to Coca-Cola? Like, what's the secret ingredient, right? To the Big Mac special sauce. What is it? I think it's Thousand Island dressing personally, but whatever.
It's not even that anymore.
It's not even.
I had it yesterday.
But whatever it is, you don't know what it is, but that secret ingredient is what pulls everything together.
There's a golden string.
Yes.
That strings us all together.
Yes. I like
and
that.
Damn it, I cannot show it to you.
I can't.
I cannot show it to you,
but you could see it for yourself.
Yes. When you,
I can't show it to you. I could see it, but I can't show it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that, people?
Yeah. So anyway, so we coined speaking brain, and we coined
Vast
stick
hole.
it up your vast hole.
If anybody uses the word vast hole,
By the way, we're trademarking that.
we're trademarking right now.
So Dr. Joe, if you're watching us, don't do that.
Don't use speaking brain or vast hole.
Yeah, no,
Those are ours.
Those are ours. We coined those.
Oh
my God.
Yeah.
We better publish this quickly because we have a lot of trademark lawsuits.
It's what's tomorrow? Monday. It'll be out by Tuesday. Tomorrow's usually the day that I put it
No,
together.
there's no quick. Honestly, this is one of the most pleasurable things, if not the most pleasurable things that I do during the week.
Oh, me too. Spending time with your family.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I'm kidding.
Obviously.
Trying to save him from the fuck when he gets home.
No.
What the hell are you talking about?
No, this is.
You'd rather be with him than me?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. No, man, this is very, very good and very positive. So anyway, yeah, and I'm embarking on a new thing tomorrow. You know what that is. I'm interested. I'm very interested to see where that goes. Tomorrow, Monday, my first time ever doing this.
Tomorrow. Wait else again.
That email I sent you.
Oh yes.
So that hopefully
which kind of ties into what I'm going to be doing.
Right.
Yeah. It's
right.
Funny.
And I'm interested, and I want to share what I learn, and I want to share, what I go through, and I'll do that hopefully. Let me see.
Yeah. Listen, hopefully you get something, very fruitful out of it. And I think you will, because you're open. You already have a plethora of knowledge in this field. So.
You know what I'm searching? I'm searching to click when everything aligns. Not because you have these very positive thoughts and you have these feelings in your body, and it kind of dictates where things go.
Don't force the click.
No,
the click will happen. The click happens.
I learned that if you
then sometimes it unclicks, and then you wait for it to click again. Sometimes the click goes, like clap on, clap off, clap on.
I learned that if you force, is when you kind of start sticking square pegs in circles.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
I'm not trying to force. I'm simply trying to put myself in a place where
you're allowing it to happen.
Yes. If there's going to be an alignment, I open my door. I want to be in a place where alignment can happen. I don't want align, damn it. No,
you can't do that.
But that's why
it's just not a pleasant place to be when you're in that state.
But imagine also,
you're forcing alignment.
If I ask you this question, what do you want? Do you know how to answer that? You don't have to tell me what it is, but
what do I want? So you have to be a little bit more specific, like career-wise, life-wise, universally.
Do you know answers for it?
I mean, what would I want career-wise? I could probably answer that. Yeah.
Okay. I can't. I don't know.
I can, but in how specific? I tell you, it's not the career I'm in right now either. Well, I'm in between.
Right.
But it's not the career that I've been in for the last 20 years. Like, that's not where I want to be. I can tell you that's not where I want to be. Nothing against it. I enjoyed it. It was great. But that's not where I want to be anymore. I want to be, I would know what I want to do.
Right.
What I want to do.
Right. So my answer would be, not really. I don't know.
Yeah, you're more on,
I'm on another path.
You're on another path.
I'm on another path. Yeah. But who's to say that putting myself in a space where clarity can sort of
come to you?
Well, you welcome
coincidences like yesterday.
Yes. Hey, frequency.
I mean, coincidence. I'm sorry. You welcome opportunities like yesterday. All of a sudden, these connections are made.
Hey, frequency.
Which people would call coincidences, but
here I am. Frequency. Here I am. I'm in this wavelength. You got anything for me? I don't know. All of a sudden, this happened.
But that'll happen more and more.
What happened here?
So, and then we'll cut it because we're going to go long. I've noticed in my life, personally, the decisions I've made that worked out best at the time when I was making them, I didn't know I was making these great decisions. I knew I was making a decision that I felt I had to make. I was being gravitated or pulled towards, or something that was just aligning with me saying, we must do this. We must do this. And at the time there was no secondary or third thought patterns around it. Is we must do this, and I was open to it. And most of these have happened in later in life, like as I've been dealing with this, as I've been working through this, where I make these decisions and they just seem to work out in a way. Even though there might have been trials and tribulations in the beginning of it.
There is no straight line.
There is no straight line. No. But it was like a great decision. That was a great decision. Don't think we all make mistakes, but that was a great decision. I made decisions which had consequences, which some people might not like in my life, but it was in the benefit of me and the people around me, my families. I've made decisions, and a lot of people would have raised an eyebrow. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Wow, isn't it lucky that you did that at that time, John? Like, how did you time that? I didn't time it to be a certain way. Like, I split my company up right before COVID. I didn't know COVID was coming, but leading up to COVID, I knew I wanted to rework the way my business was. I knew I wanted to change, and I wanted to get out of the world I was in. I wanted to do something else in my life, and something just kept. And I told you I had a fairly large construction company. Severenced everybody out. Gave a guy who worked for me for 20 years an opportunity to be a subcontractor. Took a person who was my right-hand person in my company, and I felt was wanted to be there, was hungry for it, and had there was an appreciation for the opportunity that was presented, and I gave this person an opportunity to run with it, and I kind of started severing myself out. People were like, why would you do that? Well, I don't understand why. And then COVID hit 2 months later, which would have probably, if I would have kept things going out, would have probably put me in a really bad spot, really bad spot. So, I don't know why I made that decision. I can't, even to this day, I can't tell you why, but I knew something was pulling. So you're saying it's going to click. It's going to be like, you're just going to know this is where you have to go. And you're not going to over question it. It's just going to be like, this is where I have to go. And the fear starts to subside, the anxiety around this subsides, and you just go with it.
Yeah.
And then whether it ends up being a great decision, an okay decision, a good decision, I don't know. I mean, maybe if I would have stayed in my company, it would have been, things would have been tremendous. Now, I have no idea, but I knew that this is where something was telling me, here, we're telling you here. And I mean, I made it, right? So like you were saying before, it's click. I think that click happens. You don't know when you don't realize it's happening. So don't expect this. Don't expect, oh, yes, I have clarity, like on the top of a mountain holding the 10 Commandments. No, it's not how it works. It's just, you're going to do it. And you're going to move that way. And then you're going to look back one day and go, holy crap.
Yeah.
That decision was made for me, by me, without me even knowing it. And it's kind of weird. You made a decision for you, by you, without you even knowing it. Yes. And this is where I go like this. I put my hands up and I say, well, you say, universe, do with me as you will. Yes. I put that frequency out there and the universe returns it and guides you certain ways.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that, whatever.
Yeah. So, I mean, wrap it up.
Yeah.
We started with Jim Carrey and how he wrote that check. Whatever that version of that is for you.
Exactly. Right.
Give it a shot, because I believe we're in a world where, especially right now, I turned everything off. Everything. Everything. I believe more than ever we need this. And
you'll hear better if you turn down the noise.
And you know what's funny? The old man, Bob Proctor, said that. He goes, I stopped listening to the news years ago. He goes, what the hell do I need to know that something burned down and we attacked this and they attacked that? I don't give a crap. He goes, what I give a crap about? He goes,
my personal reality.
My personal
reality, which is my personality.
He goes, if it's important enough, I'll find out about it.
But he's right.
Damn it, he's right.
He's right. And he allows himself to hear the things that are important for him to hear. And I'm not talking about news. I'm talking about, like, he allows his antenna to be pointed in the right direction. And instead of the satellites focusing on gossip, drama, news, media, end of the world, chaos. Yeah. He turns his satellites up and he goes and he hears what could give him a better life a more peaceful life, and maybe how he could help others do the same thing. And
Yeah.
he spent his life doing that.
Yeah.
Guys like Dr. Joe spend their life doing that. Guys like Eckhart Tolle spend their life doing that. You know, these people, they spend their life doing that because they choose to hear the positive things and the beneficial things at the universe instead of. That's why I said, if you turn down the noise, you're going to hear better.
Oh,
That's all noise. Turn down the noise, you're going to hear better. Turn
Yeah.
down people. Like, there's a lot of shit happening in the world right now. We know with wars in multiple countries, and there's always sadness that is happening. There's empathy for the people on every side that are going through this. It's sad that we as a nation, as a world, haven't evolved consciously enough yet to realize that all we do is repeat the same pattern over and over and over and over again. It's just change it. So instead of the ice cream cone being mindfulness, in this case, it's madness. And what we do is put vanilla on it, chocolate on it, Holy War, World War I, World War II, religious wars, Ukraine, Israel. I'm just using whatever. Name something else. Mass shootings. It's what we do. The unconscious behavior, which is the cone, the madness, does not change unless you people all wake the fuck up.
Yeah. Right.
That's it. And it's that easy. I say wake the fuck up. I mean, wake up to the unconscious thinking. Wake up that you are not your mind. Wake up.
Yeah.
Don't identify with this thing in your head that you have to believe everything it
Yeah.
tells you.
Those are the inputs you put in. What do you think is going to come out? Well, those are the inputs. What do you think is going to come out?
Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah,
Right? You heard that as a kid?
No, I heard you back in the baseball team. You used to tell the guys, when you
Oh my
practice,
God, I see that when I was a kid. Yeah.
you said, guys, when you
My
practice,
coaches told me that.
practice for perfection. Practice with purpose.
Yeah.
Because garbage in,
Garbage out.
garbage out.
Yeah. I mean, listen, some of the greatest athletes have said that. So, okay. Yes, we have set a new record, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, but you know what? We can go on.
It's okay. I like records. Records are cool.
I have so much more to say, but
So do I, but I got to go meet my kid for lunch soon.
wow, forget that guy. Who likes that guy? I love that kid.
He's okay.
I love Johnny.
All right, guys. So thank you, everybody, for listening in again. Hopefully you got something good out of it. Bigger, better, greater things always to come in the future for us. We'll see what they are. But we'll end it like we usually do with a nice. We'll try to keep it short.
A summarized version.
We'll summarize version. We'll keep it short, just a couple of minutes, real quick. So everybody, if you could just please, if you're staying on for us, which I recommend you do, let's just focus on our breath here for a couple of minutes.
You could add the bells and whistles, as you said.
Huh?
We could add bells and whistles.
Yeah, no, we'll keep. You can do this on your own afterwards. If you want to keep going, we'll just do a couple of minutes here, just focusing on our breath and whatever your mind brings you as you're breathing in, holding that breath and exhaling. Whatever your mind is going to tell you, whatever your mind is going to show you right now, just notice it. You don't need to anchor in anything. If it's something positive, feel free to bask in that feeling. If it's negative, watch it float by. Just pay attention to the one that's noticing it all. And that's that key ingredient. Once you capture that, once you realize that, once you see that that's there, or as we say, you become aware that you are aware, then a lot of this makes sense. So just focus on our breath on the inhale, on the hold, then the exhale. Allowing everything to float on by, whatever else it is. Another breath. Hold. Exhale. And notice we are here. Life is happening now, in this moment, as it always, always, always does. Inhale again. Release any tension you might be feeling anywhere. Noticing, no judgment. If you do have tension somewhere, No judgment of a thought, no judgment at all of anything. Just noticing everything around you. Let's take one more deep breath. And exhale. Slowly open your eyes. Guys, if I implore you, stay here for a few more minutes and keep doing that if you want. And I think that's it.
That is it.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Listen, peace, love, everybody.
I hope you put this into some sort of action.
Action,
Please. And I want to hear about it. We want to hear about it.
We'll have to hear about it. Yep.
Please.
All right. Peace. The insights and discussions that we speak about on our show are our own opinions and based on our life experiences. If you or someone in your family or someone you know is suffering and in need of help, please get them that help through medical attention or seeking proper therapy. Again, what we speak about are based on our experiences and not intended to be taken as a form of therapy. Thank you.